Hello, and welcome back to Let's Play 25 Years of Final Fantasy. This is Final Fantasy VII, and my name is Ryan.
And this is Claire.
And we are about to load into Disc 3.
Here we go.
Let's do it.
Oop, wrong button. X doesn't select, Claire. Who said I'm bad at video games? Even the menus present difficulty for me. Cool.
It's hard mode menus right here. Smoking.
Whoa, that's an angle. Whoa.
Oh, okay. The Ladder of Light.
Wow. Wait, who are we? Oh, we're Cloud. Didn't look like Cloud from up here.
Take care.
So are we? Did we fly up above the crater? Where are we exactly?
I think so.
Okay. Whoa. This looks like live stream smoke.
Livestream vape juice.
Yeah.
Ooh, you can go down.
Looks like we can only slide down. Let's get prepared first. Is this the point of no return?
I'm assuming that's a one-way. Yeah, Northern Cave Crater.
Okay.
I think tonight might be the night.
Might be the night, if we can get there that far. You know what, let me go back up here actually. I'm gonna change the party around.
Okay.
Well, no. Our party's good.
Okay.
I don't know. We still need to see Vincent's new limit break.
Yes, that's true.
So I want to keep him in the party.
I'll feel...
I remember Hellmasker and it's fucking dope. So that will be cool.
Oh, was it not even set to 3?
No, that's what happened last time. It was still set to the Frankenstein monster.
Rest in peace.
Okay.
Oh, do we have Cloud? No, we don't have his ultimate. Okay.
No, that's through,
Because I was just
Gold
thinking,
Saucer?
if we had it, we could teach it to him now, but we don't have it yet.
yeah, no, we don't have his. I think we have Yuffie's, if I remember correctly.
If she has all her limits, she could learn it.
She needs one more in level 3.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Down, let's just go down.
Yeah.
I assume we'll be able to change the party somewhere. Alright, let's go.
Or we're just committed.
That's a really cool angle, too. From
It
inside
is.
the crater.
Yeah. What's that?
Ooh. Cool.
Loot.
I'm in it for loot right now. Whoa!
Scary.
Very scary.
Save crystal?
What?
A consumable that lets you save? That would be insane.
Let's see. Save crystal. I need to control F here.
I know, right?
Cosmo
There it is.
What?
Create a save point. That's wild.
That's...
Well, hang on to
that's
that for a
bonkers.
minute. We should remember
yeah.
to use it, though.
Oh, we came out the other end of the crater. Or other side.
That's bizarre.
We walked through the... Wait, that was confusing geometry of this area. Okay.
So what's the deal? Are you supposed to, like, jump down on the left?
One of those Inviso jumps that Cloud likes to do.
Yeah.
I'm wise to your game. Okay, first enemy in the crater. What do you think it'll be, Ryan?
Behemoth. Nope.
Ooh,
I wouldn't
some
have guessed this.
Kicking gargoyles. Oh, they're just actual gargoyles, straight up.
Straight up.
Oh.
You gotta wake up
Oh,
with
you
one
gotta
hit.
cut them out of their stone.
Yeah. Sensible.
They stone you? They smoke you out?
I mean, they are shedding their green layer, right?
I'm assuming it's stone. It's kind of like, I like that they, like, some chemical reaction causes them to, like, their bodies to harden. like sediment or something.
They
like
harden the fuck up.
Like it slimes them. So we just shattered this layer of sediment. That's how gargoyles are made of stone.
Just imagine being like a living physical body that is encased in a thin layer of stone that you can't escape from.
I imagine they hibernate.
They had rain.
What's that?
What'd you say?
Oh, I imagine they hibernate.
Oh, they hibernate.
Like this induces some sort of hibernation behavior. That was a really annoying fight though. And it's gonna be awful if we do that over and over again. We'll have to wait for them to wake up. The slow animation every single time. Okay, these are those dragons that Sephiroth was killing. Oh, except this is a dark dragon.
Dark D-Ragon.
So, I'm in another RPG phase right now, like tabletop RPGs. And I'm super obsessed, and I found there's this website that just seems like to host like every, I think it's just, it's illicit, but like every old D&D module. So now I have like all of them, from like basic through AD&D, and it's awesome. But I'm reading through the original D&D booklets, like from 1975 or 4. And one thing that I find really fascinating, this is relevant to dragons, sorry, this is a long way of getting there, is that every attack does 1d6 damage, regardless of the weapon, regardless of the monster. Even dragons do 1d6 on a hit. The only monster who does more, at least in the rules, is a giant.
So, do they just operate on a multiple hit system?
Sometimes.
Like,
dragons have breath weapons too.
Okay. Because like otherwise it just seems like, there's no distinction of power,
I think they do have variable hit die, so like a dragon will just take a lot longer to kill, so it's more lethal that way. But I find it really interesting that is how it works. Like, I'm really fascinated by a lot, and there's even something in the original rules that says like, if you want to play a non-human character, you basically can, as long as the DM is like just makes up rules for it.
So there weren't rules for non-human characters in the base?
The standards are there, like elf and halfling and stuff, but they're different than modern D&D in a lot of ways. There's limits on their like level advancement. Earth to me.
There you go.
Oh, cool. Why not? Go doofy, who cares?
It won't make a difference at this point in the
What
game.
do you imagine that triangle is pointing at?
Presumably the actual exit from this place.
I feel like this place would be more interesting if it wasn't green. Is it green?
The light stream is always green, and that's a big pile of light stream at the bottom.
I guess it has turned the stone green. Everything's green. Cool, I love these guys. Anyway, I'm kind of obsessed.
It's cool.
Yeah.
I read an article about the newest D&D, like 5th edition.
Yeah.
About how it's a much better vehicle for just traditional storytelling and doesn't get you as bogged down in rules and dice and stuff like that.
Yeah, I think their intention, like the old school Renaissance stuff that was happening early part of the 2010s, I feel like really influenced Wizards to go back to a slightly older style while taking the things that worked from 3 and 4. Mm-hmm. But it's much less like video gamey in terms of like 4's like powers and stuff that you could use, and less combat focused, I feel like.
Yeah, I think that was the complaint I heard, that like 4 had a ton of prestige classes or whatever, and you had to like plan out your character pretty far in advance to consider where they would end up.
Yeah, it was it was like build heavy and stuff like that. Like that. Okay, it's like a very unique spot to jump from. But that's why I really like the old.
Good call.
Simple. Not necessarily simple. They're complex in their own ways, but. Thank you, by the way. Moldvay Basic and OD&D and some of the clones like Swords and Wizardry.
Right, which we played.
Oh no, I can't go back up though.
You can't hop up the left side here?
Oh shit.
What's that say?
Oh, I can.
Yeah, there you go.
Okay, it just takes forever. I had to wait for him to walk once I got up there.
Yeah, we still have our ongoing game of Vampire the Masquerade, but...
Oh, that's cool.
I mean, that game's obviously a lot more storytelling oriented.
Yeah.
Much less about die rolling.
I'm really, I think some of the stuff about the original editions that I like is I like the whole Mythic Underworld, dungeon crawl aspect, and letting, having the DM be less of a storytelling, having a story to tell and more letting the narrative be emergent from the world. But like, I'm really obsessed with mega dungeons, and there's a lot of cool ones in the OSR materials. I haven't bought any of them before, and I finally bought one of them called Stone Hell, Night Haunted Corridors, or something like that.
It always makes me think of how great it would be if video games were better at capturing that feel of like a gigantic mythic underground labyrinth. And like Minecraft kind of did that in a way, but with less structure than I'd prefer. Like less like sort of created spaces.
That's the thing, yeah.
And it's like, I imagine, like, what if a game on the scale of Skyrim was like 90% underground, like...
Totally.
You know, and like finding weird cultures in towns and stuff down there.
Yeah, absolutely. See, that's like, would be 1,000% my jam. I feel like some of the early CRPGs tried to do that. Like, they were heavily dungeon focused, like Wizardry and Might and Magic and stuff.
Neither of which I've ever played, unfortunately.
But they're totally that. Like, there is a town, but it's like in the town, like in Angband or something. Mm-hmm. Like, where you go up to, like, fuel, and that's pretty much it. Well, like, there are things that you can encounter beneath the surface. Most of it's combat, and I think that's because computers made it... I don't know if there's anything up here, sorry. I just figured... Okay, cool. But computers made it easier to handle the mechanical aspects, and they still did it. And I think that is one of the major push-pull elements for a lot of RPGs, because there's like a balance between what is fun and what might be tedious in terms of, you know, mechanical upkeep. Like tracking encumbrance, which feels like a rule that most people never use.
Yeah, because it sucks.
Well, because it's hard to do. Whereas that's something that a computer can do really easily.
That's true.
Because it takes all of it. So I feel like some of the mechanical, crunchy aspects work better on computers, but some of the more subjective, emotional, personal, narrative elements like are harder to replicate. Though lots of games did them really well, like the Infinity Engine stuff, and that's why I think I was always slightly disappointed by Skyrim and stuff, because I never had anything like that. It never felt like that to me anyway.
I mean, it had encumbrance, but like...
No, I mean, like, it didn't have, like, cool dungeon stuff, yeah.
I think you go up on the right. Yeah, like, there's some dungeons in Skyrim that I remember that felt... I mean, Skyrim just had better dungeon design than Oblivion, because they didn't do nearly as much copy and paste as Oblivion was. Oblivion was just copy and paste from the game, like that's all it was.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I loved the dungeons in Skyrim, but like because they totally could feel like more than a lot of things that I've ever played. Like you're exploring like a dark dungeon in a way that a lot of games don't let you do. So it had like tons of atmosphere, but ultimately there wasn't a lot you could... I think that's always been my issue with the Elder Scrolls games. So like there wasn't a lot of... Like if you remember, do you ever play Morrowind?
I've never played Morrowind. I installed it and tried to run it, and it ran like I can't remember if it just like crashed or if it just ran super like ass. I don't know.
It had a really cool and weird world. Like, it was not super stereotypical fantasy. Like, it had, like, giant mushrooms and, like, the silt strider creatures that walk between towns. But, whenever you talk to somebody, like, the dialogue for everybody was the exact same options, almost always. Like, it was stuff like that, where it was clear that it was, like, you know, they just copy-pasted pieces. I think out of necessity to make a game that big. But it could feel empty as a result.
Yeah. It is one of those things where it's like the smaller the budget, or like the more that budget has to focus on technology in terms of like engines or whatever rendering method you're using or whatever, like if that budget has to get spent in those places and you're still trying to make it a huge world, it ends up being a huge but mostly empty world. Like I think that's a lot of what happened to No Man's Sky.
Yeah, totally.
It's not a can of worms I really want to open, but like I think they're a very small studio with a small budget that was also, you know, creating a lot of stuff from scratch. And so they had a lot of the core ideas mechanically of what things should end up being, but then there was like no meat on those bones. So
Yeah.
ended up being a very empty experience.
I totally agree. And I mean, I think the like one trade-off, and that's what Skyrim did really well in the dungeons for me, is that I feel like a lot of times in tabletop RPGs, a lot of what I found really fascinating and I really loved about them was the kind of aesthetic and atmosphere and feel of them and that sort of thing that kind of comes along with the idea of like, a creepy remote abandoned dungeon. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But it's hard to replicate that sort of feeling, like to get a particular tone out of a tabletop game just by the nature of how you play. I don't think it's impossible, but I think it's difficult, and that's something that I think video games can sometimes do better because it's a primarily it's a like Skyrim. It was a very atmospheric feel, but it's like a trade-off.
Yeah.
And I think there's like definitely middle grounds. I'm just generalizing.
Skyrim is one of those games, I mentioned it before, but it's one that I never ended up really putting in an amount of time that made me feel satisfied that I had done enough to be done.
Yeah, totally.
Like Oblivion, I played that game on Xbox 360, and I was playing so much that I got to the point where I actually achieved the maximum gamer score for that game.
Oh my god.
There's a lot that you have to do. Like you have to do all of the like guild quests or whatever, like to complete.
Jesus.
Yeah. Excuse me.
I told you.
But Skyrim just didn't stick with me that way. I even tried to motivate myself by having the big.
I remember map, you had it up in your.
And like I was trying to like check off places I had been, and then just got bored and stopped. So I don't know.
I did the same thing. I'm pretty sure I told you. Glad we have one more hyper left. I guess I can assume her or something.
That's true.
Okay, what the fuck?
Can you like cross more upright? Like from the top?
That's kind of what I was wondering. I can't seem to get over there. Fuck. Jeez, Jiminy. It's unnavigable dungeon, speaking of. But, that, sorry.
That's fine.
A lot of the mega dungeons, that's part of the reason I like them. Even just reading them, because they're completely handcrafted, even though they're huge. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's the kind of feel I'd look for. Or even, I don't even necessarily need it all to feel 100% handcrafted, but like, the procedural generation needs to be good enough to be able to draw from, sets of created information about, mythos or whatever, or like calling from tile sets or geometry sets that, share themes in different places in more than just more than just a like, this is the area that has, cubist sort of shapes in all the architecture, whatever, it's like it needs to be more than that. Like there needs to be.
I want to know why there's cubist shapes.
Yeah, why that is, and like what that means to the player instead of just an aesthetic.
Exactly. I think that's where a lot of the video game parts fall flat for me. Is because that is really fascinating, but sometimes that's all you get. Yeah. Whereas I feel like I think with something like I'm excited to read them, Stone Hell, and there's this one called Barrow Maze that's like undead themed. But there are things to discover about why the universe is like that and what happened there and like what's currently happening. And I like the idea too that as a DM you can take that stuff and modify it so you can make it living in a way. Mm-hmm. Like I think dungeon factions like between, denizens is kind of cool. Oh shit. Okay, we'll save it for next time.
Oh, you have Vincent.
Yeah. But you know what I mean? And I think what I really would like to, someday I would like to really try, I want to try and get that kind of weird fantasy pulp tone. Okay. Cool. These items are terrible.
Yeah, they're all kind of shitty consumables.
Sources are totally not interesting.
I think the game that has done the best job of procedurally generating dungeons that still feel like they have some sort of mythos or some sort of interior logic that's more than just aesthetic and like binary A-B, and that would be Bloodborne's Chalice Dungeons.
Yeah, totally.
Because it populated the dungeon based on some of that stuff, and then there was lore stuff that you could only find through that.
See, I completely agree, and I think that's partially because Dark Souls also felt very, obviously a super D&D influence, I feel like. And...
Can you go more right from the chest?
No, I can't pass it.
You were sitting in front of it just a moment ago. Oh, but you can't... Okay.
Yeah. But like even just having unique creatures tells you something about the environment. You know what I mean? A lot of the dungeons like these... What the heck? Huh.
I feel like it's a positioning problem somehow. I don't actually know.
Anyway, they have like there might be pieces that you can stock them, but like the pieces that you're rolling on tables and stuff might have a connection to the environment. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Okay, let's check out Hellmaster.
Show me.
Just close up. This is amazing, Ryan.
Oh, what? Oh, he's like a chainsaw maniac.
He's like a Jason plus Leatherface.
Splatter combo.
He's like he is like kind of like the Splatterhouse man.
Yeah.
He just chainsaws a dragon in a giant cave in the middle of the earth.
That's kind of great.
I like that there's dragons underneath the earth too. That's also very D&D.
Underground dragons are pretty dope.
Agreed. And you see his other move.
Yeah, I feel like the dragon might die before we see anything else. Yep.
That's okay.
Ah, well.
Hellmaster is dope.
Seems pretty sweet.
Yeah, I can't remember what his ultimate is.
His gloves look more like boxing gloves.
They do. They look like little... Excuse me. Wait. What? Okay. So this... Okay. So, okay. I'm just gonna walk.
Could it be that this is a dead end?
I mean, maybe. Maybe you fall down here or something.
Yeah,
but
like
why would
if
it
you
let
fuck
go
up somewhere
down?
else, you fall down here.
Okay. Cool. So I guess just go back in here.
Yeah, just go back in there and see if there's another way. Because there's these other doors on the left. Obviously, you have to get to them from further up.
I know this, dungeon gets more interesting, but cave is kind of one of the least interesting options we could have picked for this dungeon. Just saying.
It's not even like a particularly magical looking cave. It's kind of just a cave looking cave.
I mean, the one in the Arctic with all the cool crystals was at least slightly more interesting.
Yeah.
This is literally just stone.